Hey YouTube, I bet you didn't think you would see me on here, huh? So, we're about to have a conversation about spiritual hygiene. As a practitioner, as someone who does spiritual work, there, my camera's better. I'm doing this as I'm about to get into the shower and take care of my personal hygiene. But we're going to have a whole conversation about it because it's something that is overlooked. It is something that has been completely avoided in these social media streets. People act like if you light some sage and get some Palo Santo and get a few candles, that you're good. You know, that's all you need, when the truth is the circus just came to town. So we're talking about spiritual hygiene and just the personal spiritual journey of someone who's a practitioner. Whether you read astrology, whether you do tarot cards, we have a life outside of the work we do. And this is something that I feel you don't see a lot of it. I feel like you have a lot of the aesthetic spirituality. You have the benefits of doing the spiritual work for other people. You have the appearance of spirituality. You have the look, the sage, and like I said, the Palo Santo. You have all these different parts of that journey, but no one speaks about the darker side of it, right? Spirituality opens you up to not only the energy of other people. I believe it opens you up to having to go through personal crisis, spiritual crisis, emotional crisis, in solitude, So I debated really long and hard about showing this clip. While I was recording, my family kind of just bombarded me, with pretty much like a crisis, which is something I've been dealing with, creating boundaries with my brother and my mother, and I love them dearly, but they have a tendency to dump on me. Okay, they dump a lot on me. There's a lot of responsibility on me, and regardless of what I'm going through, they just kind of break that perimeter. And I'm sitting in the office talking to my wife, having a breakdown. I'm looking over here. I can't even record in peace. People have a way of dehumanizing spiritual workers. And I don't think people do it on purpose. I think that people forget that we have our own families. We have our own tragedies. We have our own chaos. We have our own dysfunction. We have our own generational curses. We have our own triggers. We have our own traumas. Like, we have our own thing, and it's really easy as a spiritual worker who does darker work. I'm not talking about, and no shade, I'm not talking about the love and light people. I'm not. And they go through things, but they deal with lighter things. Like, let's just talk about astrology, or let's just talk about, lighter energy things, But as someone who does shadow work, intense, work with people who are dying, or work with people who are preparing for death, people who deal with trauma. You're gonna hear my cat. He's playing and running behind me, chasing a ball. Luckily the ball is cotton, so Cosmo, move. People forget that we have our own darkness we have to go through. I feel that it's necessary when you're a practitioner to go into a hermit mode once a year. Sometimes it happens involuntarily. Sometimes it happens because you choose to. And if you don't choose to, life is going to choose the time that you go into hermit mode. Right now, I'm in an era of trying to come out of hermit mode. I had spiritual congestion. I was spiritually clogged up. I was energetically clogged up, to the point where my bedroom was my safest place. And when I mean safe, not like, oh, people can hurt me. No, it's not that. Like, no. Safe as in, I can only control the space that I am in right now. And right now, the space is my bedroom. I let my wife have the office, and At one point I was on like the patio, and then I was like, too much energy. You know, I was that person. I watch the same shows because I know what's coming next, you know, like King of Queens and Everybody Loves Raymond. Those are my happy feel good shows, and they're not technically feel good because it's like family chaos, which tells you a lot about my childhood if you pay attention. But maintenance of spiritual hygiene is so important as a practitioner. So if you're someone who's considering being a reader, considering joining ATR or an ATR, I can't get the words out of my mouth, okay? Keep in mind that although you are meant to be of service to other people, it's even more imperative that you are of service to yourself. Just as I was recording, you guys saw I had a little bit of a meltdown, and it's because while I'm recording, my family, you know, I couldn't even record because I'm getting back-to-back calls with crisis. And because of who I am and what I do spiritually and the work I do, I'm labeled the problem solver, you know. But no one really asks, like, how are you doing? Do you need anything? How are you feeling? Even if they know I'm in a dark space, even if they know that I'm in hermit mode, I haven't been my best, I haven't felt myself, people still find me to dump on me, and this is family included. And so spiritually, it's really easy for me to get behind. It's really easy for me to say, forget the work right now. Like, I can't do the work. I can't do the work for other people. I can't even think clearly, right? Because I'm dealing with, you know, being bombarded with others' energy. And so it's like boundaries be damned, right? Like, family doesn't really listen or honor boundaries. I literally just told them yesterday, I'm trying to get out of this dark space, you guys. I love you, but I need a little minute. I need to put this on my face because I had a lupus flare and I'm having a squirrel moment. And what's a squirrel moment? A squirrel moment is when you're thinking about one thing or doing something and then you completely get distracted and you start doing something else. And I have to calm down. As you guys can see, my cheeks are red, which means a lupus flare could definitely be on the way. And I got things coming up and I can't afford it. So I spent much of April and May in a lupus flare because of emotional and spiritual stress, you know. I don't find it a coincidence that I have not one, not two, but 3 autoimmune disorders. I definitely feel part of my job brought them on. You know, I feel like part of the work that I do causes me to go into illness at times. And it's not my client's fault. I think it's just because I absorb so many things from people. People literally buy my time. And when I began practicing publicly, for people outside of like my friends and, you know, some family members, I didn't really I didn't take that into consideration. You know, like, what does my rebound time need to look like? Should I be reading 10 people in a day? Should I cut off some time? Should I have a day off? Should I read for half the month, take the other half off just for personal things, or take a week off? And part of that is social media. My cat. Okay. What was I saying? Dang. But I spent much of, like I said, I believe that part of my work makes me more vulnerable to illness. I didn't get sick until I was like 30. So I didn't, I may have had it before. I feel like the gene or something was there, but something definitely activated it. And as I began to practice, I kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I just believe it's because of all the energy I work with, all the energy that gets left with me. And throughout that process, I had to learn, when do I say no? When do I turn down clients? When do I cancel appointments? When do I say, you know what? we went over this conversation. We've had conversations about this situation 12 times. Another session is not going to fix it at this point. This is you. This is something you have to do. And so I feel like boundaries as a practitioner is something that needs to be prioritized, and boundaries for yourself. Keeping in mind what your limits are. Social media. I feel like social media definitely plays a major role in, modern spiritualists or practitioners taking on full caseloads, full, I'm booked and busy. Do you want to be booked and busy spiritually? Do you always want to have everyone's energy on you? Or do you want to be aligned? And that's where I'm starting to become where I was going to make my channel all about tarot and shadow work. And I don't want to. I'm still a person. I can talk to you about spiritual matters without it being a thing that exerts that energy out of me all the time. This is a part of it. This is a way of creating the energy that I want. It's really easy to look at numbers and say, well, this practitioner has X amount of followers and this person has this amount, and da 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 da. It's not about that. Spirituality is never about the numbers or the statistics or the money. It's not. The money is necessary because we live in a material world. And I would never apologize for how much I charge for sessions and things like that. But I feel like my mouth got really juicy for no reason. But I feel like after a while, the burnout happens when you play that game. And that's something that TikTok taught me, that you can have 80,000 followers and it can be fun and fine and dandy for 2 years. But year 3, baby, you're going to feel that fatigue. I remember the moment I felt it, I started to dread doing readings. I did them. I had the ability. I didn't give bad readings, but my heart wasn't in it. And so when I do my live readings now, they're fun. And so if you're new to the journey, or if you're thinking about doing it, or if you're a practitioner, maybe this is something to keep in mind. What are your boundaries? How do you keep yourself spiritually cleansed or spiritually aligned? Do you want to be booked and busy, or do you want to be spiritually aligned with the divine timing of your life? Working within your gift will create opportunities for you to flourish. Exploiting your gift will create opportunities for you to become exhausted and burnt out and frustrated and angry and bitter and competitive and in your ego. This is all I had to say today. I just wanted to kind of welcome you guys to my channel officially. I am Rising High Priestess, also known as Gabrielle Victoria, and this is my YouTube channel. I hope you guys subscribe and stick around. I'm realigning myself spiritually, and it's right before my birthday. I always get super deep around my birthday, but something's changing in me and something's evolving with me, and it requires my own patience. It's not even about if my clients have patience with me, my customers have patience with me. I'm gonna disappoint a lot of people. I'm gonna let a lot of people down because I'm not going to be on call anymore. I'm not going to be Johnny on the spot anymore. Spiritually, I'm evolving out of that. I'm going with the flow. I want to be in divine alignment and divine timing at all times, okay? So I send you guys love. I send you guys peace. You guys saw a little bit of my breakdown. I'm asking you not to judge me. Oh, whatever. Judge me. You saw the human side. But that's it. You guys have a beautiful rest of your day. And let me know in the comments what you thought about this subject, okay? And I looked over here when I should be looking over here. It's so weird. I feel like I need to put something so I don't look over here. But I'm probably not because I use it to check. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Y'all have a good night.